Baby.
Hi.
You know what time it is.
What time is it?
Baby.
Yeah, I'm still
You
here.
know what time it is.
Yeah, I'm still listening.
Baby.
Yeah.
You know what time it is.
I hope you tell me this time.
It's... Baby.
Yeah.
You know what time it is.
No, because you won't tell me.
It's Studio Johnny Q.
And then just like that, Smoothie gave up the ghost. Well,
he's having a stroke. Do you smell toast?
Maybe. Do you smell toast burning? Or is that just me? All right, hold on a second. Welcome, everybody. Randy, I'm going to put it on so that we can actually see Master Control. Welcome, everybody,
Hello.
one and all. Hello, hello. I'm Johnny Q of Studio Johnny Q. We have Randy over there at Master Control. And we had a little, you can't see Smoothie because he's on the floor clutching vital organs. But welcome to Addition Through Distraction, your twice a week podcast where we work on nerd stuff and try to add a little value to your day to day with some of our silliness and conversation. Randy, welcome. I'm glad to see you here, brother. I am going to switch to the ceiling cam here. You can see that we're dealing with a mess, but I do have something neat to show you. While I'm working on this, I will remind everybody to please like, share, and subscribe. Like is where you hit the thumbs up button. The share is, there is a share button that will facilitate you telling your mom, and telling your bro, and telling all your secret loafers. That didn't really rhyme. It was kind of forced, Randy. Sorry about
Loafers.
that. Loafers. You can tell your loafers.
The next time you talk to your shoes.
Yeah, you know. I don't know. Shoe Talk. That's funny. This is welcome to Shoe Talk. I am your host, Johnny Shoe Q. And here we go, Randy.
Focus.
Focus.
There you go.
I know he's out of focus. I could see.
Oh,
That was intentional. It was like a dramatic reveal.
I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to the camera. Nice.
And I haven't even begun dry brushing this fine gent. This has just been airbrush and washes so far.
You should do the quickly move it in and out of focus and do the TARDIS noise like he's materializing. God damn it, I told you to stop leaving the emergency brake on. Jesus. I have to teach you how to fly this thing again.
Yes, always. But anyway, so had some progress photos of this guy. We had used silly putty and painter's tape to block off the translucent base. I'll still be putting some more paint. I actually painted the underside blue but you can see not a lot.
I like that. That's pretty.
Yeah. So
it's like some cool statue colors or something.
Yeah, it's got like some kaleidoscopic thing going on there.
Crystal clusters and stuff.
Actually, let me get a little bit of extra light in here too while I'm over here.
What's up, JC?
Hey, JC.
Happy Tuesday to you too, bro.
Yeah. Thanks for hopping on. And I guess this little extra light as well. As you can see, he's I am really happy with how this guy is starting to look. And like I said, I even got to the dry brushing yet. So we got him. And then also, Randy, I know you're also fond of the dragons, right? And we started some prep work on a dragon.
Nice.
Look at that.
Got quite a bit of detail going on there.
And again, this has just been airbrushed and a little bit of washes. So, but I got a purple shine on the bottom. I got a blue metal kind of in the middle and on his hands, and then a gold opalescent on the top, and then some greenness in the wings. So going for like a chromatic-y thingy here, but so good start on that. So I think that, and then also, Randy, show you real quick where we left off, because we were working on these, I think, on the last session. Oh, you know what that means, Randy.
What does that mean,
It's
JB?
time to it's a reminder to tell you that I love you.
Aw.
And I appreciate you, and I'm glad that you're here.
Here, let me set that again for another 5 minutes.
Actually, you can wait. It'll remind me again in 30 minutes, or when the M50 fails, whichever comes first.
It's not enough.
All right, here. Let me see here. I will do a little picture. I can do a little bit of.
Hey, today, I believe, is chocolate covered nuts day.
And I hope that's not the end of
I
the
got-
story.
I've got some dipping chocolate with me. So.
All right. You went to Teabags Chocolates? Here we go. I got you so we can see you on the picture-in-picture, my friend. And also me as well. But here, check these out, Randy.
Cool. Did you just lay those?
I did.
Nice.
Man, that hurts. I wish the scales pointed the other way, I'll be quite honest. But, no, I didn't design it. So we were working on our dragon eggs. Here. And now we can see it, our little picture. We'll move that, make that primary here. There we go. So these have just been base coated and some initial washes, which you can see we're going with a, it's kind of multi-colored chromatic sort of egg here, and then this one will be more like a metal-y thing. But I'm happy with how these are starting. And man, that low temp glue gun, shameless plug, is link in the description. It's one of our recommended gear. But man, I really am enjoying that glue gun.
Nice.
I'm a big fan of that. Having that low temp is going to open up possibilities where I hadn't previously considered using hot glue. So everything's going to get hot glue now. Hot glue and duct tape.
Everything?
Yeah, it's a poor man paradise up in here. All right, so I'm going to work on clearing up a little bit of space here, Randy, while we work on stuff. On today's show, I don't know that I had too much in our show notes. Did you have anything that you wish to share in particular? If not, I'm happy to lead us in a direction. I just didn't know if you had anything. If you're ready, if not, I haven't got to indulge too much more in the VR, but I was able to get successfully connect to the Steam VR and all that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I do now actually have access to Steam games and also the Rift games. So anything that was a Rift exclusive, I can also access that now.
Very nice.
And so I'm checking out some of those games, like on the catalog, but I ordered up Boneworks, which is a little bit more of an intense title. But I just barely started it, so I don't really have much on it. But I also John J2 came over on Sunday, and we recorded an episode of Perchance by Happenstance, and I'll try to get that posted sometime this week. But he had never got to try VR, so it was somebody else that was able to give him a quick glimpse into it. And it's funny now, I probably have introduced, and I've seen both your and my reaction to that super hot VR game.
Yeah.
And it's funny to see how different people react in VR to the same experience. Like we talked about with Shay, I mean, she was like a whirling dervish, right? She turned into the Tasmanian devil. Well, she didn't turn into the Tasmanian devil. I'm pretty sure she's Tasmanian devil probably all the time. But it showed. I mean, she started kicking. And it's like, there's nothing tracking your feet, right? Except for my TV console and the dogs. But yeah, and then so it was just really interesting to see how different people react to it. But everybody generally react very positively. Nobody was like, I hated that, or man, that was uncool, or meh, everybody's pretty overwhelmed with the experience. So that's what are you currently playing, Randy? I have a sense that you are playing, because PlayStation likes to tell me your business. I saw that it said that you were picking that maybe you were playing Shadows of Mordor.
No, I downloaded Shadows of Mordor.
Oh, okay.
I haven't played that yet.
Okay. I saw something. I saw something that said Randy and Shadows of Mordor. So okay.
Yeah, I really haven't had much time to do anything.
Yep.
I did a lot of sleeping.
Yeah. Well, what's the last game that you? How are you still playing the Dragon's Age?
Yeah, Dragon Age Inquisition. Yeah, actually, I told you about the ball one.
You told me what you had described it was that you thought that you were coming close to an end, and then you had opened up a couple quest lines that made it look like you actually had a lot more than you thought you did.
Yeah, there were two main storyline quests that I was holding off on.
Okay.
Because I was afraid that
it would
if I would do those, then I would lose all the other smaller quests and different things.
Yeah.
And it was almost opposite potentially, unfortunately. They don't do a good enough job, I don't think, of letting you know which ones you should do in order so that you're sure that you're not going to level out of an area.
Yeah.
When you come back to it, and your gear is actually way better now, and you're not really getting. I guess I just learned, not through the game, but through reading online somewhere about something, that you only get experience for anything that is within 2 or 3 levels of you. If it's below that, then you don't get any experience anymore. So if I go back to these other areas now that are lower level, there's not a whole lot of point there potentially for killing stuff. At least I would hope you'd still get experience from doing the quests at least. But
is the design, the game design, in a way that you're not supposed to necessarily be a completionist, right? Because or no,
it depends. How you don't have to do everything.
This is the way I'm trying to, I guess, frame that question. Another, say, this is not an MMORPG, right? It's a solo player game, right?
Right. Well, there is multiplayer. I'm not sure what all that entails.
Okay. But you're playing it as a solo.
I am playing it solo.
But it kind of has that feel of an MMORPG, right? And it's
especially since the characters in your party, though you can control them, they can act independently.
So this is the way that I'm trying to describe.
And they have storylines, and they interact. So
right.
A bit.
Yeah, so the quest lines, it feels very much like because I've played some of those where it's Skyrim has very much an MMORPG feel. It's just missing other people in it. How with WoW or something like that, you'd have different starting cities, right? So you could never actually go to all the starting cities and do all of the quests
Yes.
and not
you're never-
level out.
you're
And
never-
that was the question. Is
Yeah.
it designed in a way that you would always, if you were to do all the quests, some of them are going to be green or grayed out or whatever,
Yeah.
experience-wise?
Yeah, it's still a bit unclear as exactly how that works.
Okay.
JC said, but Randy, don't you care about the lore? Experiences for suckers.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, I do care about the lore. That's actually, part of the charm of the game is that it does. That's actually...
There's a reason why lore and snore rhyme. Sorry.
That's part of this game is that there's a lot of decisions that can change the outcome.
Okay, yeah.
So there are certain things you do. Like if you choose to do one quest, it may close out a whole other quest line.
If you choose to fear the taint, then
like
you
at
get
one
set
point,
of consequences.
I don't know if that's... Well, if nobody's played it and they want to play it, I don't know if that... I could say something, but I don't know if it's giving too much away. If anybody's concerned about
feel
that.
free. This is going to be a...
the
game is...
Okay,
they sell that game for $10. It's been around for a long time.
So I'll just make it less specific, but still viable.
Okay.
So if you have... At one point, you have to choose between two different sets of people, we'll say. And if you choose one, then it totally closes you out from a quest line of the other, and totally. So everything you do from that point on that involves those people is going to be colored by that choice,
Right.
and the quests that you get will be oriented along that line rather than involving the other people as much. To a point. So there's a lot of stuff that, you won't, every time you play it, if you make different decisions, then you're going to see some different content than you would. You're not going to be able to see the entire game's content within one gameplay.
Yeah.
And there are some things, because I wanted to see how different things would play out, that's actually, if you're worried about how it comes out, you want to make sure that you're making the best choices or whatever, or you're just interested in seeing how all the different options play out in a conversation, then you save it before you talk to somebody,
Right.
For an important conversation, and just go back and load and and try out the different. JC said, "Spoilers, Randy. Great. No, I feel like I wasted my $10."
Oh man.
By the way, Vader is Luke's father.
By the way, Vader is
JC, how could you? I didn't know.
Vader is George Lucas's pervy uncle that bad touched him. And think about that, and that explains everything. All right. Well, now that we started off with a little inappropriate Star Wars talk,
what else about the there's something else I was going to say
about the Dragon Age?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I told you about the Royal Ball, and so that's one quest, but it's a main storyline quest, and it ends up being this event. So it takes at least an hour, I'd say, possibly longer, depending on how you go about it, to do this one quest, because you're locked into it once you start it, I think.
Okay.
And it takes place like within this palace, so it's an instance within itself where you can go around and explore, talk to different people. There's a whole storyline that's unfolding within that. And there's lots of decisions you can make within that change the further gameplay potentially.
You could right click the and mute that the desktop
stuff.
audio if you want.
So you don't need that on anymore.
I needed it on for Smoothie's collapse.
Yes.
For the great smoothie seizure.
You're right. There you go.
And now that that's gone, you can,
Thank you.
Because I posted on Instagram that we were streaming using the actual YouTube link. So hopefully we're getting notifications that people are liking it. All right.
And then the other one was another kind of central quest to the storyline, the main storyline. So I played that through once, and I deliberately made choices that I wouldn't normally make because I wanted to see how it would play out, and then played it again super quick in a different way that I wouldn't play out, just because I wanted to see.
Like you made all the good guy choices, because I know you typically you're always backstabbing and murdering people and lying and
no, I do tend to go the good guy route.
Lawful good on the good spectrum.
It just best suits my soul.
Hey, man,
I'm a good guy.
I respect that in you. I have the same hard time. It's like our friend that we used to work with, Josh, right?
Yeah.
He liked to play those games. Like whenever he would play a game like that, he would always play like the most evil options, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's killing everybody and he's robbing from his grandma and selling babies into slavery and.
Yeah, I have oh gosh, I can't even think what it's called. What's the game where you steal the cars and
Grand Theft?
Yeah. For some reason it's not seeming right at the moment.
Grand Theft Auto? Is the one.
I'm pretty sure that's
you're
exactly
talking
what it
about.
is, but for some reason it's not quite clicking. I don't know. But I'm pretty certain that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So I got that and I played
That's
like
the one where you
the
can beat
opening
hookers and stuff.
scene basically. And I was like, I don't want to shoot that guy. I didn't. He
But
looks
can
like a
we
good
just
guy.
talk it out?
I don't feel right. Just made me uncomfortable.
So at that point, Randy's pulling up the menu system to look to see which button is the "Let's talk this out" button.
Yeah.
Is that the L1 or the L2? Why? What?
So now I have to what? I feel like I should be shooting the people that are in my party as opposed to the person that we're supposed to be shooting.
So Randy just always keeps killing his own character.
I didn't even get that far.
It's like
I got distracted by other stuff and never went back to it because it was like, it makes me uncomfortable.
yeah. That's the game. It's got a lot of flack for because like you could beat up hookers and stuff.
So, and shoot cops and
well, you pull people out of their car, and you basically are carjacking people, and it's called Grand Theft Auto.
I mean, there's because I was watching, I think Neebs Gaming did an episode of it, and there's you have to go into the police station and assassinate somebody at some point, apparently. That's one of the quests that you get.
Well, Randy, I appreciate that you share that. No, apparently you don't have to. I mean,
I have no idea.
You're strongly encouraged to, but you
I
can
don't,
always.
I think in that game you get to choose what quests
Randy,
you do or don't do. I don't.
Today's message is that resistance always an option. Resistance is not futile.
JC said he likes to play good guy for the first playthrough and then reveal his true self and play the bad guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I added that part.
Yeah. And by the way, JC, I did have to share with I think it may have been with John your view on how you say that people cut you off, that you disgraced your family, but then you come to the realization they probably just needed to poop real bad, and that's been helpful. It's been a real helpful metaphor. I wanted to thank you for that. A little bit of wisdom.
My mom has actually referenced that a couple times.
Oh, damn it. They probably just had to poop real bad. I wish I didn't know that. Life was easier when I could just hate everybody. All right. I'm going to... Randy, this silly putty works so good for masking these things. So I use silly putty basically to mask the clear stuff on here. And man, that works so good. So nice.
So do you think dry tack would work as well for that? Or you think
no,
there's a difference
like
in...
the blue tack stuff.
Yeah,
I don't think so, because I've actually had problems with it. Like we use it in our D&D sessions, and I've had problems where it's pulled up some of the paint on things. So this I've heard. I don't know, do your own fact finding, but from people who seemed learned on the interwebs, said that this is really good for this, because really it only wants to stick to itself. And you would think, like, one of the big selling points of this when we were kids was that, when you used to have the Sunday funnies, that you could take it and put it on the print, and you would take it off and it would have a face, and you go like,
distort it.
Yeah, you've seen those commercials, and so you would think like, oh, that's probably gonna, but no, that's about, I guess, the only thing that will stick to it is it, and it's also, since it likes to only stick to itself, it's easy to pull off of the model. So yeah, I'm this is like my third or fourth time to use it, and it's like, okay, yeah, I'm buying like 4 more.
But it doesn't give a satisfying chew.
No. It I think that it is part of the human experience to realize that 3 things don't taste the way that they ought to: silly putty, Play-Doh, and bouillon cubes.
Oh, God.
Yeah, those are all moments in probably everybody's life where you're like, well, this what I thought was going to happen and what actually happened, not the same thing.
There's a YouTube video of a cute little kid trying baking cocoa powder.
Ooh.
Unsweetened cocoa powder.
What was it?
Takes a big teaspoonful of it. It's adorable.
I remember in the early days of the internet, like or the YouTubes, like they had like some of these challenges that that everybody was doing, and like one of them was like the cinnamon challenge.
Yeah.
Big mouthfuls of cinnamon, and that just doesn't work the way that you think it would. You're like,
crackers are bad enough.
Yeah, the
what
cracker
was it, try
challenge.
To eat 7 saltines or something without,
And what was it? The Tosh
just dries your mouth.
Tosh tried to do like 12 of those things all at one, and I think he tried to do them while he was on some marginally illegal drug. It was like drink the gallon of milk, eat the crackers. I think it's where you put your head on the baseball bat and you spin around 12 times. I'm trying to figure out a good way to base this this Cthulhu here. Well, that sound you hear is me losing my marbles. Randy, I'm just not.
Oh, it's let's see, Saturday, 22nd. Yeah, Saturday was World Sword Swallowers Day. So
you got that.
Where's Sting at?
Sting?
Yeah, it's over there in the corner.
Oh, I thought you meant Gordon Sumner Sting, like of the police.
There you go.
Oh, look at that. So let me get you on M50 here, Rainey. Here we go.
Oh, wait, your ceiling's too low. Ready?
I'm ready. We got you.
Ah.
Oh yeah. Take it. Take it. Yeah. Wow, way to drop it like it's hot, Randy. That's good stuff. Nice. Well done. Wow. That was impressive.
Cough drop after that.
Randy, I think I'll say that not surprised but still impressed. Is that fair? That's a fair assessment, probably.
Little out of practice.
That's all right. Well done, sir. Well done.
Thanks.
We appreciate you giving it the good college try there.
Don't try that at home, kids.
No, only trained professionals. Don't do the stupid stuff that we done did. All right. I don't know if I can get this to work or not. It seems that each attempt gets a little bit more phallic.
By design.
Well, yeah. Just assuming that's going to work, right? Isn't that a man's solution to everything? It's something phallic. All right, here we go.
I got one of those live
There
from
we
Snack
go.
Time quotes for you.
Yeah.
Gabriella, 7 years old, says, "You can come to dinner with us one day. I'll have my mom email your mom."
I'll have my mom email your mom. That's nice.
An anonymous 7-year-old says, "I want to shake my booty and eat my foodie."
That's Carrie told me that when she says you have to say this from now on when I cook. I'm going to shake my booty and eat my foodies. And actually, I think that got quoted a couple times over the weekend. That one's awesome. There was another one she quoted that from a 4-year-old.
Oh my god. Anonymous 8-year-old. "It's Friday. I don't have to pretend to like you tomorrow."
That's the one. That's the one I loved. Yeah, that one. I do not have to pretend to like you. Finally. Let me see here. I don't have enough light, Randy, for what I'm trying to do here.
I can't remember if I said this one last time or not. Why was King Arthur's army too tired to fight?
I don't know.
It had too many sleepless nights.
Aww.
Poor guys.
Oh. There we go. All right, let me move that back.
Hey, JB.
Yeah.
I asked my French friend if she likes to play video games.
Oui.
She said, "Oui." Way to step on the line there, asshole.
Sorry. I was just trying to yes and. I wasn't trying to step on your joke.
You get shot in some venues for that shit.
Yeah. But I really was. I was really just trying
in the
to...
hardcore.
I was just really... How was I to
dog eat
know?
dog world of stand-up comedy.
Well, you know, I had
Comedians.
said the line and did not even realize that it was the punchline when I said it. And then when you said it, I was like waiting. It was like, oh, damn, that was the joke. Shit, son. All right, here, try to see if I can get the M50 to be a friend, an ally. And then we can get started on doing some painting here, hopefully. Alrighty. Alright. Then let's go ahead and just turn you off right now. Okay. Randy, I'm going to pull out some paints and start dry brushing this cat, and I am looking forward to it. Alright. So let me pull this up like that. Corner and 50, something like this, maybe.
JB, look at this real quick. Oh, where'd it go? Ah, there you go. Minimize that so maybe it'll show up better.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's okay.
So
You're good.
I'm trying to get the whole picture to show up.
Oh, this is the...
That's the new doc. This window, I swear to God. Can't I? It won't let me...
Resize it from the bottom, or if you're gonna... I mean from the top, not from the bottom. I meant from the top, not the bottom.
Here, let's do it this way. Oops.
And if you hit F11,
it's
it'll give you
finicky.
it gives you full screen as well, which will give you just some extra space. But
Here we go.
there you go.
Well, apparently it's not going to work very well.
Yeah,
but
I'm
anyway, so yeah, this looks better than the one than it looks in the game.
okay.
I think. I mean that's pretty rough, but the one in the game has like, which I think is actually truer to the way she actually makes hers, in that like sort of workshop area. It has like, do you know what rabbit wire is? It's like chicken wire except small squares. So
It's like chicken wire, but
they
it's
also
made out
call
of
it
rabbits.
hardware cloth, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
It has an element of that, like up around the tip where the crystal is at the tip. But yeah, you see what I was talking about how it's vaguely
I could see
pocket
where it
rocket-ish.
does look like it's like part marital aid, part
Yes.
lipstick, thing,
Oh, but
and both are
yeah,
insulting.
the top part of it, yeah, that could be lipstick. The bottom part of it, though, is
Yeah. It's
suggestive.
It's not.
And then let me see if I can find a picture of the TARDIS console.
I mean, I don't believe that there's a male agenda, but that makes me see why somebody might think there is.
Well, I mean, the show's run by women now, right? So
Is it?
yeah, I think so. So you can't say that in that case.
Well, there you go. Well, like I said, I don't believe that it is. I just said I could see where somebody would take a look at it from afar, and out of ignorance, like I was, and is. All right, I need to figure out what colors we're going to use. I want to use.
Oops.
I think a little bit of this flesh color. Tempted to try some of this purple
That's a
first.
pretty cool picture.
Oh, wait a minute, this is primer. I don't want that. Get away from me.
Can you see that?
See here. Oh, wow. Huh.
So this moves up and down
Like a throbbing gristle.
while these are wiggling at the same time.
So it kind of looks like tentacle porn.
Basically, so that's her console, her TARDIS console.
So and explain to the good people what it is that you're showing here. I'm not sure that if it's clear
what is
from
it?
me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so each doctor has a different console within the TARDIS, especially now with the new iteration of the series, as opposed to the old classic series.
Right.
Each Doctor, the TARDIS kind of regenerates with the Doctor in a way. The control room changes to match their personality, kind of. So the new Doctor has a new TARDIS console, and it involves crystals, and I don't know how to describe these other than sort of kind of finger-like columns.
Yeah, it's like part
six of them
it's
around.
like crystal mechanic.
Yeah.
It almost looks like a hand, kind of, or
Mhm.
like a spider.
So
if a
they're
spider
like-
was upside down.
Yeah. So they're like these fingers that gyrate. Gyrate? Not quite the right word I'm going for. But they wiggle, basically, as the center column of the console is going up and down. And in the VR game, it seemed extra suggestive.
Huh.
And that's the first time that I've seen it, especially from that angle. Like, I don't recall seeing this. Like I said, I'm a season or two behind,
Right.
so I don't have that much experience with the new Doctor's console. So seeing it for the first time in a VR experience in the middle of it, right up close, it was interesting.
Yeah, no doubt. That's funny.
Oh, JC's got to go
See you, brother.
back to work. So have a good stream.
Yeah.
Bye, bud.
Thanks for hopping in, man. Appreciate it. Oh. Let's see here. So I'm doing beginning to do some dry brushing here on the face tentacles. Kind of giving it a little flush color with a little bit of purple wash. Purple drink I added.
Her TARDIS room in general is pretty cool, really. It's multi-dimensional. But
Like, yeah,
Like-
it's the Doctor.
yeah, it's the TARDIS. What do you mean?
Duh.
But like it's got multiple layers that you like see through the first layer of wall into the second layer of wall, and then there's stuff going on behind that. So
That's cool.
it's got a lot of layers to it.
That's neat.
And there's things in it that seem reminiscent to me of older episodes. I can't remember what it's called. It was like the Rose Room or this is pre-Rose character. This is old school Doctor.
Okay.
And it may have been like the fourth Doctor. Wait, no, that's Tom Baker. The fifth Doctor, perhaps, had trouble with his regeneration. So they had to find this specific room within the TARDIS.
Okay.
And I think it was kind of like zero gravity room and something. There was something special about it that was supposed to help with his regeneration. If something went wrong with it, it kind of soothed the process.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it kind of smelled of roses in there for some reason or something. So there are patterns on the wall. And this kind of reminds me of that. That, and then potentially one of the times they're on Gallifrey, I think. Although I can't remember if that's new or old. There were some patterns, I think, in the architecture that this is potentially reminded me of. Here, let me show you. Well, that's real small. There you go. Oops. Over there. You see that?
Uh-huh. And what is that from?
Doctor Who.
That's from...
inside of the new Doctor's TARDIS. Part of it.
Oh, is that the door out?
Yeah.
Okay.
The rest of the walls look different. That's just what the wall around the door looks like.
Amazing how quick some of this paint dries. It's like you mix the color, you spread it out, and then it's like, oh, it's dry. For what I'm doing here, adding a little bit of this flesh color to the inside of his hands. See here, you can't really see much of that. Jodie Whittaker, is that what her name is?
Sounds right. I believe so. I want to say yes.
When John was here, we were talking about British shows. And,
yes.
You know, he's a fan of the British shows, and we were talking about how my joke is that there's only like 15 British actors, and because you see them in everything, right? And I was talking about there's the show The Crown.
Uh-huh.
And there's a woman who plays in the third season who plays the Queen. And it's like I've seen her in everything from Green Wing to Broadchurch to...
Oops. Shit. Sorry.
I mean, I see her all over the place. And especially like in episodic, you know, television. You'll see these actors all over the place. And that was the thing with Jodie Whittaker. That's why I brought it up. I'd seen her in several things before. She's actually in Broadchurch. She's in the first season of Broadchurch. It's her child, I think, that is.
Jodie Whittaker?
Mm-hmm. I think so. I think it's her son who's the target of the investigation, or the center of the... Not really a spoiler, because I think it happens in, like, the start of the first episode. Let's see here. I'm going to try to do some more of this.
Isn't the woman you're talking about that plays the Queen? I'm not seeing her name. Is it Olivia Colman?
That sounds right, because John did some looking, and I think that was it. We were talking about a couple
Wasn't she the
people.
one that plays in Broadchurch? Isn't she the main female character?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, I thought you meant...
I seen her, and then I said, you know, actually, I also remember seeing Jodie Whittaker as well. Whittaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, I was talking about, that Coleman, because I see her all over the place.
Yeah, she's been in a lot of stuff.
I like her in Green Wing. She plays like this receptionist who's just always so exasperated, like, can't remember that. She's like, she comes into work and she's like, I just left my kid in the car. And has to like leave. Because she's just so exhausted by everything that's happening in her life, you know? Like that overworked mom who's just at her wit's end sort of thing. That was the first time I remember seeing her. But even then, like all the actors in Green Wing, like I've seen all those actors in different things. The Mistress was in Green Wing.
I have not seen any of Green Wing.
One of the females from Coupling is in Green Wing. But yeah, you just see those British actors because again, it's it's a small space, right? As you were enlightening us last time. I'm trying some of this purple on these wings. Let's see what this gets us. I don't know what I think about this. But we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going with it, Randy. We're going to keep going. Computer, what time is it? Computer.
It's 12:42.
Okay.
Looks like she was in Fleabag. Have you seen any of that?
No, I've seen it advertised. That's a Prime show, right? Amazon Prime, I think.
I can never remember whether something's Prime or whether it's Netflix. That
sounds
sounds right.
For some reason, I was thinking that was a Prime.
Yeah. Prime.
And I just remember it has like an exasperated femel.
I
looks like her mascara is running.
Is the I think like the original trailer, and it just seemed really strange. I don't know what it's about, other than it seems to be a female mainly character. Let's see, what is she? Watership Down. Have you seen that?
No, I have not.
What's this? Huh. TV
'Cause that's
miniseries. It's about the animated rabbits.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that story at all. I never. That's the one that missed me. I never had gotten exposed to that in school.
Oh, that's the first time I'm hearing of it.
Oh, Watership Down?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a book. Might be Rudyard Kipling, who. No, that can't be right. Computer, who wrote Watership Down?
Watership Down was written by Richard Adams and published in 1972.
And then I think that there was maybe an animated movie or something. But
Yeah. Huh.
I'm sure that whatever happens, a bunch of people die. I just know that because it's something that is animated. It deals with animals in the 70s. There's going to be a lot of death, I can tell you that. Moms, grandmas, babies.
Yeah, apparently there was an animated TV series in 1999. Adventures of a warren of rabbits as they struggle to develop their new home and protect it from various threats they face.
Mm-hmm.
And then the new one is I thought it was a movie, but this is saying it's a season as well. Huh, I didn't realize it was a series.
And what's that? What's the
new Watership Down?
Yeah,
it's
what vehicle?
2018.
What's the vehicle that it's going to be on?
Huh. Why am I not seeing any reference to where it's playing? It's I'm pretty sure it's either Prime or Netflix.
Well, because it's right now you got Stars and HBO, like American Gods. That's on Stars. It's like, man, that was a good show. But
it was so nice when it was like everything was on Netflix.
Yeah.
Where'd you see that? Netflix?
Makes
Oh, okay.
What's Netflix? This is not the thing.
Netflix.
You
looks like.
Okay. That's the one that you order the DVDs from? The mail order? Yeah. That one.
You can rent it from other places as well, like Amazon.
Started watching His Dark Materials. We watched the first episode of that on HBO.
Oh yeah,
which is based on
Golden Compass.
Golden Compass, His Dark Materials trilogy.
Is that a prequel?
No, it's the first of it's the first of it.
So at what point?
It's
Golden Compass.
It's retelling Golden Compass at this point.
Oh.
Because Golden Compass was just a movie.
Yeah.
And so this is a series, and so it's a much more elaborate, and it's also it was that wasn't in the book. Right off the bat, it's okay, well, none of that was in the book. But it's a much more elaborate and going into a lot more detail, which it warrants because it's. I mean, I've heard it referred to as the agnostics or atheists version of C.S. Lewis, Chronicles of Narnia. So it's kind of got some headiness to it.
Which one is it? My mind wandered.
His Dark Materials. It's
gotcha.
compared to an atheist's version of the Chronicles of Narnia. Yeah, because it deals with this premise that there's dust exists. They have everybody has these animals, right? These spirit animals. They call them daemons. And when you're a kid, they can change shape, but when you become adult, they become fixed.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the basic premise of it. And they say that dust is kind of the thing that connects the animals with their, or something like that. but the military that's in place, and this is like an alternate. It starts off by saying this is a world that's similar in some ways to yours and very different in other ways, and so like it has like London, but London is not our London, and like but it deals with this the government that's in place, which I think is the magisterium, is this. There's a lot of religious overtones, and so it's like, that's heresy. Everybody's like, oh, that's heresy. You can't even talk about that. That sounds heretical,
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of the premise of what's going on. That's kind of like the setting for it, and so it's it's dealing with esoteric ideas.
Is the Wikipedia entry for Dust, His Dark Materials says Philip Pullman's His Dark Materials and the Book of Dust trilogies, Dust or Rusakov particles, are elementary particles associated with consciousness that are integral to the plot. Dust features in the multiverse written about in these trilogies and companion books. In these universes, dust is attracted to consciousness, especially after puberty. The church within the series associates it with original sin and seeks its end. Pullman describes dust in a 2017 interview as an analogy of consciousness, and consciousness is the extraordinary property we have as human beings.
Yeah. So, interesting stuff. So I'm curious and excited that they're giving it a this treatment. And I've listened to them, I think, on audio only. I haven't read them. I've only listened to them on audio.
How many books are there? I mean,
3. It's
but
the
this
Golden
is
Compass.
referencing something called Northern Lights. Lord
Golden Compass, which is also, I
Asriel.
think, called Northern Lights.
Okay.
And then there's the Subtle Knife, and I think the Amber Spyglass. I think the Subtle Knife is the second one.
It makes a reference to Genesis 3:19.
The third one is really weird and trippy, and it's just like, I need to I listened to it when we were working at BWC, and it was more than I could focus on at the time. And I've always wanted to go back and give it another go. And then I was disappointed when the Golden Compass movie didn't do as well as they had wanted. So then, they didn't look like they were going to pursue it any further. And I was like, oh, that's disappointing. But in this day and age where Game of Thrones is blown up, that people are really interested in mining books. It was like, oh, we could mine books. People have been writing great stories all this time. And finally, the value of writing seems to have grown a little bit. Good writing seems to be valued more so now than it ever has before in television. And I think that's probably, in part due to the vast landscape that, you really got to be good for the rise and be noticed, right? You can't just be mediocre and succeed in today's media landscape.
Plus, there's not really a stigmatism against TV like there used to be when it first came out.
Yeah.
You were an actor if
Right.
you were on the silver screen. Anything else was just
Yeah.
the TV dribble.
Yeah. Now, you'll have actors that'll do everything, right? They
Yeah.
do movies, they do TV, they do. Yep. All right, here, let me see here.
So the Golden Compass, was that one of the alethiometers?
Yes.
So there were 6 alethiometers.
Yeah, they said
constructed
in
known
the
as symbol
TV
readers.
show, and I had forgotten that there were several made.
Oh, looks like a pretty rich world they've created. That Philip's created there.
Yeah, I mean, just in the first one, they deal with like armored bears, and there's witches, and there's the Egyptians, which are actually gypsies. So the Egyptians are gypsies, and they kind of live like on the boats, on like kind of like if you would think of locks, like those type of boats, like lock boats. You know what I mean?
No.
Locks, channels. You know what I'm talking about? Waterways with like locks and channels.
Channel boats?
But like flat, like channel boats, like flat, long boats like that, That's kind of like what they do. And like I said, it's weird because it's like there's things that are, like they don't have,
canal boat.
They don't have modern technology, but they have other means. So like dirigibles are mass transport means. It's through dirigibles and things like that. And
yeah, I was thinking they flew. But I may be combining two different things.
They can. I mean, because dirigible, they have like mass dirigibles and things like that. And like one of the guys, I think he has a hot air balloon he uses, and I don't remember how it is in the books, but like in the movie, I think it's powered by like some sort of crystal power or something like that. But all right, well, this is coming.
It's another one I've been meaning to rewatch was Golden Compass.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I think I've only seen it once when it first came out, but for the most part, I've seen bits and pieces since. But
yeah. Speaking of, English actors getting around,
like whoring.
Yeah.
Oh.
They Luther. There's a prominent female character in that, and she plays as the Nicole Kidman's character. I can't remember what her name is. Miss somebody. Coulter. Miss Coulter. I think is what she plays. Let me see here. I think I need to edit this with more. Do another. Let's pop out here real quick.
Marissa Coulter. Do you hear me?
Marissa?
Yeah.
I don't know that anybody calls her Marissa, so they might just call her Miss Coulter throughout the thing. That's funny. Yeah. And it's neat too, just like with the spirit animals.
Mm-hmm.
I actually use that as a heavy source of inspiration for our current D&D session. Was based on that idea, and that they're animals, but they're not animals, right? They're manifestations of something within you. And it's an interesting analogy, right? That when you're a kid, that your pet can be anything, but as you become an adult, it settles into one form.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very interesting. There's something very interesting, I think, that he's saying there with that.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Randy,
well, he was talking about consciousness. If dust is consciousness and all that stuff is attracted to consciousness. It used to be believed that the brain was fixed once you were an adult. It stopped changing. It wasn't placid anymore.
Neuroplasticity and that kind of whole thing.
Or is not using that backwards. It's placid, solid, placid. Placid means plastic, like malleable. I forget. I think that's correct. So maybe it's a reference to that.
Yeah. I think in part it is about that. I mean, I think it speaks to the fact that people do become that way. Why is up for discussion, but people do get set in their ways as they get older. That's just. And of course, we're speaking in generalities here, but yeah, I find more often than not that seems to be very true. I get more set in my ways and the older I get, while trying to maintain objectivity, of course. But
I've become less set in my ways,
bullshit.
but that's through introspection and direct self-intervention. And
I think there's other ways in which you have become more set in your ways, though.
what do you mean? How so?
I think that, and I don't. It doesn't have to be a bad thing to be set in your ways. You know what I mean? I mean, we take that as a bad way.
Yeah, and I don't mean it in a bad way. I just mean like I used to be very set in some things, like OCD set, and now I don't give a shit.
Yeah, but that's kind of being set in your ways too. Is that result of that not giving a shit is by becoming set in your ways, and that's kind of what I'm trying to allude to. And I know I'm not describing it very well, and I'm knocking a bunch of stuff over here.
It used to be the dishwasher had to be loaded a certain way. I decided it should be loaded. This is the way it should be loaded, and it had to be loaded that way. And anybody else was wrong. It didn't piss me off.
Right.
Because it wasn't good. It wasn't right.
Yeah.
And now it's like, whatever. You put in stuff the way it goes in there, and that's fine.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. That's a great example to illustrate your point, and that helps me to see that I'm talking about something different. But yeah, I definitely agree with you on that, because yeah, I think not getting older and learning to not sweat some of the details is one thing, but as far as, you know, I'm talking about core belief systems, which is I think is different than, you know, that the dishwasher needs to be a certain way. And not to trivialize that, but I'm just saying I think it's a different type of thing. You know what I mean? One doesn't negate the other.
My life seems to operate in reverse of a lot of people's. But
yeah, but I mean, like I said, I mean, you are definitely like not giving a crap about things that you used to give a crap about, and that's common. That is a common thing that happens to people. So in that sense, I do think that you are sharing a common experience of other people.
Yeah.
But and that's, I guess that's what I'm saying, is that like, and again, I mean, I'm trying to be like open-minded and acknowledging that there are things that I wholeheartedly believe that I know have to be wrong, and so I need to be objective and to question my beliefs. But you can't help that as you think something, like let's say that I thought that you were flipping a coin and I think that coin is a double-headed coin because every time I see you flip it, it comes up heads, right? I've seen you flip it 6 times. It's come up heads every time. The more times that I see that, the more times that I'm going to be reinforced that that's the truth. It could just be a streak, right? You could just flip it 12 times and it comes up head every time. But the longer we go, and every time I see it, I come and I visit you every year, I see you flip it 1 time and it's a heads, then I'm going to think that it's a head. And so as the older as you get, things that you've seen, the anecdotal evidence that you have in your life is going to either reaffirm or disaffirm things that you have, you know, beliefs that you have. And so when you get that reaffirmation, you know, you just live as long as we're starting to live. You can't help but think that things are true that might not necessarily be true. Does that make any sense?
I understand what you're saying.
I think it's all a bunch of horse shit, but
no, I mean,
I do understand the words that are coming out your mouth.
I've been thinking about that kind of stuff lately too, and I think because I think about it often, that it's a bit different for me than
I would agree
than
with
people
that.
who don't think about it.
I agree with that. I don't have a problem entertaining that premise. I mean, I don't even need to entertain that premise. I'm on board with that premise.
Yeah. And like, I'm not trying to say one way is better than the other or anything. I'm just saying that's just the way I think it is for me. And I don't. Maybe that's worse. Maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know. I'm not even thinking about it from those lines, really.
Yeah, and again, it's like I'm talking about something I think more specific than.
Yeah, sorry. I think I'm unintentionally making it more difficult for you to make your point, and that's not my aim at all. I'm just differing from my experience review is slightly an opposing path, perhaps, to what you're trying to go for. But,
Yeah, or at least the
And-
way I'm describing
yeah,
it, and
yeah.
the way you're interpreting, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I hear you. I'm not here to make you a proselyte. I was just here to share an opinion. All right, so I've added a bunch of purple to this guy. I think I'm still going to continue to keep doing it, doing more of the same here. Let me go back here to. I'm going to grab a beverage over here. Take a moment, and let me peruse, Randy, what our mental health minute note was.
Oh, I've got several.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. That's. Do you want to run with the mental health for the last half?
What was your?
I don't. Can you pull up the notes? If
Oh.
my notes are still up,
No, I did close it because
I
of the,
can pull it up on
from
my
the
phone.
notifications.
I can pull it up on my phone.
Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna pull it up here for you in this view, but that would probably be easier for you to scroll through and whatever.
I wrote.
Yeah.
I
So
put things
please,
down, but I don't remember.
please, people, recognize when you have issues and seek help.
I'm gonna try to help segue that, Randy.
Yeah.
I saw, I think it was a comedian talking about passing out, that that they had a tendency to pass out, and it says that if you're with somebody and you pass out, that's on you, right? You don't just pass out. You know you're getting ready to pass out, so there's an onus on you as the person, and the only person who knows that you're actually getting ready to pass out is to tell somebody, or put yourself in a spot, sit down. You have a responsibility. And as a person who also has passed out in their life, not in a long time, but when I was younger in particular, I'd had those issues, and it harkens to me that a similar thing of like what we've talked about before, right? That you have a responsibility in your mental health, no matter what your condition is. So, sorry, from there, I'll let you continue. That's what you made my mind blow up with when you said that to start with.
Okay. Yeah. If you, I think there's only certain issues, like serious issues, that you may have. Not you. I mean,
Well,
somebody in general. Where you honestly don't recognize that you have some sort of issue at all.
It is hard when the thing
And
that's
that's
wrong is the thing that is the tool that has to be used to decide that something's wrong.
So I'm talking about like some serious psychoses, some serious like
Mental health
psychotic.
is a very wide spectrum.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where you actually don't know that you're having an issue.
However,
Everybody else, you know that something's not right on some level. And instead of trying to hide that or deny it or ignore it, please seek proper help. And that help is not a pill or a bottle or anything else. It is talking to somebody who knows what they're doing, who is trained and qualified,
professional
to handle these things. There's no stigma against it. If there's, I mean,
there is.
There still is
but,
in some places, but those people are wrong.
right, exactly.
And
You don't need to feel stigmatized.
if you look at how things are changing, how things have changed, then it's clear to see the people who stigmatize that are incorrect.
Yeah.
It is important to guard your personal mental well-being and make sure that you are seeking the help that you need there.
Yeah, and even if you just think like, hey, maybe,
Yes.
then seek
Maybe
somebody.
I'm crazy.
Then get another perspective.
Yes.
Get a perspective from somebody that's not a loved one, somebody that doesn't have a vested interest in your well-being, other than just trying to help you be the best that you can be.
Yeah.
Best version of you.
And like, if you're scared about going to see somebody, like, don't be. I know that's easy to say, but it's also very true. There's no reason to be scared of going to talk to somebody. and you may think you do, but let me tell you, the fear, the anxiety, the worry is so much worse
Yeah.
than actually just doing it.
Yeah. That's the truth.
So much worse than the actual experience. And if you can just
that's almost a
manage
universal
that,
truth.
huh?
I think that's almost a universal truth that
Yeah,
the worry of a thing is almost always not doesn't have to
always,
be,
but
right? I
almost.
mean, you could be worried about dying and then
Well,
find
I
out
mean,
that you have a horrible death. And
even then,
yeah,
there
but
are
almost
far worse
always
things to dying. Like
almost always, it seems that
Yeah.
that's a truth, that the worry, and even that's the statement is that when you worry, you suffer twice.
mhm.
And it's like, one of those might be needlessly. It's the silent part of that,
Worry does. I mean, it's not beneficial, but
very rarely.
Beyond the initial, like, oh, I'm worried about that. It's a warning, like, oh, maybe I need to pay attention and be cautious.
Do I need to check on that? Do I need
It's-
to? Is there something that I forgot?
Yeah, but anytime that you get fixated on that,
Yeah.
it's not good.
No.
So don't be scared to go and talk to somebody. If you think that there may be an issue,
Yeah.
go talk to somebody.
Go talk to somebody.
I
Because again,
think
if there
you
is,
should-
you
you
might
should-
not be.
Yeah.
You're not seeing it 100%.
It should be something that everybody views as their personal responsibility
Yes.
to make sure that they are taking care of themselves mentally
That's what I was trying to.
as well
allude
as
to
physically.
earlier. Yeah.
And it is often something that gets ignored
Yeah.
and then can lead to, embarrassment or fear and denial and all that crap, and that just makes everything worse.
And this is the thing too. Like, I've never met somebody that didn't need therapy. I don't think I've met one person that I didn't think needed therapy, myself included.
Was it need versus like could benefit from? Let's say that. I don't think everybody necessarily needs it, but
I do.
I
I
think
think
everyone
that
could
I never
benefit from it
Yeah,
potentially.
and I'm saying that that's why I would say need, because you're not getting it someplace else.
But there is another thing too. Like, you can't really force somebody to.
No. Mm-mm.
You can't really force somebody into being mentally healthy. Like, they have to decide to do this themselves. They
Yeah.
have to be willing to do this.
Yep. I agree.
And that's part of the problem. Like, I'm trying to get is everybody should be willing to experience talking to somebody about their mental issues or mental concerns or emotional concerns or well-being or whatever.
Yep.
There should be no stigma. There should be no worry. It should just be, yes, of course, let's go and make sure that I'm level here. If I have issues, let's talk about this and get
Yeah.
it straightened out and find out how to deal with these problems I'm having. How can I better deal with stress? How can I better deal with loss or grief or whatever? Like, what are healthy ways to optimize how I'm dealing with this in a healthy way? Because that's so lacking. I think that's another thing that they should be teaching in school more and concentrating more on, is making sure that everybody has this base knowledge of self-care, of mental and emotional self-care.
I was talking to Johnny about this a little bit, that, because we were talking about this last week, the conversation that you and I was having about it made me think more about that, about how this is like, there's a core need that humans, like our mental health, it's like we just don't even recognize it, right? It's not even on the radar. It's something that like you need to take care of, like, eating 3 square meals a day. There's no like equivalent of that, of like, hey, make sure that you're thinking 3 healthy thoughts a day, or there's none of that. There's no like, oh, you need to get your 10,000 steps. There's no like, hey, you need to make sure that you're meditating
there's
for
no,
30
like,
minutes a day.
Yeah. And even just like, there's no scale for you to stand on and say, oh, I gained a pound.
Right. Yeah. That's true too.
Oh, I've taken on another neuroses. Like,
yeah,
like,
that's true. Yeah, that's true. It's hard. How do you measure it? That's
and
that's
the
an
answer
interesting-
is through self introspection and then talking to somebody who knows what they're doing.
And so the thing that, as I thought about what we were talking about last week, is that I think that for a long time, and I'm going to say low grade in air quotes, but low grade mental conditions, and that's just to compare them to severe mental psychosis, is like you're talking about, like that, where you can't even know that you're having the issue. But things like anxiety and depression, some things like this, and again, these are in air quotes, as low grade.
And even them, they have various issues. They can be severe.
They can have a total wide spectrum of themselves.
Yeah.
But for so long, those types of issues, I think, fell to the domain of spiritual people, the churches and things like that. And, even like what you were talking about, tryptophaning and things like that, even as severe as that. But, things like when you're sad or you're anxious, these were matters, these were spiritual matters.
Yeah.
And attended as spiritual matters. And I think that's, we've been comfortable with that for so long that as we have become less comfortable with it, that we haven't had something that's come and taken that over, and filled the need that is left by the void of, well, if it's not God who's going to help us with this, who is?
Yeah.
And so I think that as humans we're
we're
coming to terms on how to frame it and understand it, and
and
we're
for
behind.
a lot of people that, like, from my standpoint, in my history, my experience with religion and psychology and my own feelings and whatever, I haven't had that situation where, to a very low extent in comparison to the extremes that do exist out there, where religion versus anything else can be a problem, to the point, like, there are children out there whose parents are forcing them through exorcism experiences because they're having emotional issues. They think they're possessed by a demon, and they have them.
I've seen somebody try to pray demons out of somebody
by a quote unquote priest to get the demons out.
I have sat and watched somebody try to pray demons out of my friend before.
Yeah,
I have that life experience in my head.
So, not helpful.
Yeah, it didn't work. It didn't work. I'll tell you. You can ask them. I think they would agree. It didn't work.
They still got the demons.
But
in there.
I guess I think the demons are still in the Siemens. I don't know. I don't know whether we appreciate the effort or not. I wouldn't say, well, we appreciated the effort, but I'm not sure we appreciated the effort. But yeah, it's but back to your original point, right?
Yeah.
Is that you have a responsibility, right?
Yes. And you can claim that you don't need help, or you can ask for help and act like you're a victim and that nobody is helping you. But the problem is you have to be willing to accept the help. And in some cases, you have to be asking for the right kind of help. Because a lot of times people will ask for things that aren't really going to help them, that are just going to continue their problems. You need to be willing to accept, and it just goes back again to, like, stigmatizing and, mental health care and everything, psychological health care, emotional health care, whatever. Like, so many people were brought up like, that's not, men don't worry about that, men don't cry, men don't, you're weak if you do. That's bullshit.
No, Randy, it's not bullshit.
It is bullshit.
No, it's not.
You need to make sure that you're properly on level.
Yeah, that's what's funny is, we mentioned this on one of the other mental health minutes, is that people who endure mental health issues are some of the strongest, most courageous people that I know. And that's what's funny is it's
people who deal with it.
Who deal with it, yeah.
Properly.
Well, yeah, and sometimes improperly, but just because you're doing it improperly doesn't mean that you're not courageous. But what's not courageous is saying that, well, I'm going to deny this. I'm going to pretend this doesn't exist. I'm not going to talk about this. That's not being brave. That's being cowardly. And that's what's really, that's what's funny is, like, well, It's like, no, being courageous is knowing that there's something there and being able to, it's just so funny that in life that so many things that masquerade as strength are really weaknesses. And I think that's one of them.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not strong. That's not strength. That's not, it is. And the whole machismo thing is just such a silly, it's a silly concept that can only be perpetuated through insecurity, people's insecurities.
Machoism and toxic masculinity kind of
Yeah,
thing.
because it's only because we're so insecure to begin with that type of thinking can even get a foothold.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's because we're just so insecure to begin with. It's like, oh, shoot, I better not. I don't want to turn into a queer or whatever, whatever stupid thing is. Oh, I'm going to get sissified. And it's only because you feel that way to begin with that it's a concern to you, right? You feel inadequate. Otherwise, you'd be like, man, fuck that. That's stupid. Who thought that up? That's some stupid thinking. And that's what's funny, too. It's like when you start... it's so easy because, you just brought up to think things and you see things, right? And then sometimes you'll sit back and take a look at something from afar. Like, I've had over the 20 years that I've been a season hockey ticket holder.
Mm-hmm.
At the start of every game, they do the national anthem. And over the course of 20 years, my feelings about the current state of our country has fluctuated from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
And I've taken those moments during the anthem to take a cause to pause and reflect on it. And when you sit and you're not participating in the national anthem and you just watch it, it's really bizarre. It's really bizarre to see what people are doing. And almost frightening.
What do you mean?
What are we doing when we sing the national anthem? What is it?
I mean, you asking me? For
yeah.
my
What do you
opinion on
think?
the matter?
What do you think What do you think the intent of the national anthem is?
Well.
And if you don't want to talk about this, we don't have to talk about it.
Brainwashing, indoctrination.
Well, yeah. I mean, what's the difference between patriotism and nationalism? I think nationalism is regarded as a bad word, and patriotism is regarded as a good word. Just like Patriot missile is a good missile, and a Scud missile is a bad missile.
It's the same things. Like, people don't think about it; they just do it.
Right.
And it creates like a mass, like a mob mentality in a way.
Yeah. It perpetuates us versus them.
Yeah. And if somebody doesn't do it, then everybody's like, "Wow, how dare you!" Well,
And
there are a million reasons why that person might not be doing it, and what does it matter anyway?
And,
like,
do you
even know what it is?
Isn't America built on the idea that there is nothing more American than peaceful dissent? That America is supposed to be a place for you to have an opposing opinion and to be able to peacefully show your dissent? Isn't that the core of America? No, the core of America apparently is being intolerant and toxically masculine and, pharmaceutical prices going through the roof and, scholastic achievement going down, and that we excel in nothing but incarcerating our own people and, things like that. But yeah, I'm proud to be American, I guess. I mean, is that what it is? Am I singing it because I'm singing the anthem in case we get attacked and I'm willing to bear arms and fight for the country? Is that what I'm saying when I sing the anthem? Is it that I'm saying go USA as far as like USA versus Russia? Is it that, it's like pledging allegiance to the flag is just something you did as a kid. And I was like,
yeah,
I don't know. I'm not certain. What does that mean? I'm not sure I'm down with that. And yeah, it's really weird that if you exercise those rights that are afforded you as an American, how often you are called being an un-American.
Yeah.
And that seems...
And like, it's easy for somebody to be listening to this to just jump on something and be like, "Roar," because we said something and they think that we mean like disrespect to somebody or something about, and that's not, just listen to the entire conversation and seek the actual meaning as opposed to just jumping on the the angry bandwagon. Okay.
Yeah. person that's not actually listening that I think is listening that I'm going to
I'm just saying.
be vitriolic towards.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying
I
to
know
be
what you're
vitriolic.
saying.
I'm trying to be the
I know what
opposite
you're
of it. But for instance, like, okay, so it's just something that people say and they don't even know why and whatever, and then they get pissed off. Like when under God, when they wanted to remove that because separation of church and state and whatever, and this stuff was being done like in schools and whatever, and they added under God to the Pledge of Allegiance, and people were like, "How could you take God out of the Pledge of Allegiance?" Well,
how could you put it in?
He was.
That's the question.
Recently,
right? It wasn't how can you? How could you put it in? It makes no sense. The way that the country is formed for you to put that.
Yeah. So it was only under God was only added in like 1954.
Yeah, lots of good things happened in the 50s.
So
when was McCarthyism?
And that's so you've got that you've got the kind of training kids in this mindset of pride for their country, but to me it gives potentially a very misunderstood view of the world.
Yeah.
Because and the reason I say like it's dogma and it's brainwashing in a way is because it is about building our country up and that we're better than everybody else in a way.
Yeah, it promotes us versus them.
Yeah,
and that's the only thing that it's meant to do.
And it's the same thing in your so you go to fight a war, and they're the enemy. Right. You're right. God's on your side.
God hates those guys. God hates that team.
And they're wrong. They're against you. They're against your country. They're against God.
They're mother rapers.
However,
they're father rapers.
Really, they're just doing what they're told, just like you're doing what you're told, except you've been, maybe you're both been trained to think this way.
Yep.
Maybe somebody has told you both to think a certain way.
Yeah.
But really, it's just somebody else has told you, hey, go kill these people.
Well, yeah, and it's like why we fight wars and what the common, reason again, why we fought wars.
Yeah. Again, these are generalizations. Please don't take any specific offense to this. It's not intended for that.
No, but let's say like World War II, right? Well, yeah. We joined World War II because Hitler was bad. Hitler was bad.
Yeah, but we waited.
Yeah, Hitler was real bad, right?
Like,
but
we
waited
for the win,
so
but like we came in at the very end.
Yeah, very, 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 very at the end.
It's like we swooped in and tried to take all the
credit,
and
then it's like we were like the only people that were in World War II. Right? It's like World War II was just America.
Yeah, my view of like Americanism and nationalism and everything, and how it made me feel being indoctrinated in that way growing up was that I thought like America was the best. Yeah. America is, the first world country, and everybody else is a third world country to some extent.
And
so
it's
like thinking about
freedom. It's that freedom.
That was the other part of that was like communism versus how we were indoctrinated against communism. Like communists are evil, and capitalism is good. But it's like they both have positives and negatives. I mean, the idea of what capitalism is that you have competition, and that competition breeds, that things be better. And then communism at its core should be just like everybody working together for a common goal and sharing resources.
Nazi.
But it's not.
Pinko commie.
Yeah. But it became synonymous with our enemy. And it was, stigmatized, or there's another word I'm looking for that I'm not thinking of right now. To make them the enemy, to make
witch
it
hunted,
evil.
Persecuted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To the point of witch hunting within our own country.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So
good times.
Okay, so what it meant to me was that it created this view where I thought that we were supposed to be the best, and like everybody else must be third world. So I'm thinking of these countries, and I'm thinking of them as like people running around in loincloths with dirty water, drinking dirty water because it's all they have, and like not knowing any better. And here I find out these places actually have cities with skyscrapers, and like and I'm like, what the hell is going on? How is this a thing? Like what happened here? What the fuck is this? This is supposed to be a third world country, I thought. Like, and no, that's not even as nearly as much a case as what I thought, based on what I was brought up to believe, with because of the indoctrination and not having good instruction of what other places in the world are actually like.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, but back to let's try to close the mental health minute. Yeah. So that was what I was saying though about that it's weird when you are in that, like when you sit in a stadium, 18,000 people that are participating in something that you choose to step outside of and not participate in.
Yeah.
And you just look at it, everybody, and it's just like, man, this is weird.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing. Like if you go to somebody else's church, it's very weird.
Mm-hmm.
Your church seems perfectly normal. Everybody else's church seems really weird. And it's kind of like that. It's just like...
Yeah, I went to a cousin's church once or twice, and they were doing like the laying on of hands, and so people were doing speaking in tongues and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's
that
hardcore.
Was so far outside of my my usual experience with church, because I was raised United Methodist, and to me it was a very laid back Christianity. There was still enough of aspects to make me feel like shit about myself. Yeah, that's good. But it didn't have anything like that going on in church of speaking in tongues or laying on hands or anything like that. Or not crucifixion, Jesus Christ. Well, that's
yes, that's typically who is on the crucifixion. Depicted in the crucifixion.
Baptisms is what I was trying to go for there. Baptisms was just done. It was like a sprinkling of... he dipped his hand in the water and flicked you on the forehead.
Yeah, like a Catholic baptism of the baby sort of thing.
Yeah, but that's it. There was no like full body dunking or anything like that. Another thing I experienced when I went to a cousin's church. Yeah, we went to I think it was a Pentecostal church once, and we were raised Baptist, and we weren't even there with our parents. I think we were teenagers that went there. And they were insisting that we be rebaptized on the spot because we were baptized incorrectly. Yeah. Which was confusing because we were Baptists. But then you got the furthering of that, where it's like the snake churches who concentrate on certain phrases within the Bible, passages within the Bible about transmitting poison. And... yeah, so they dance around with snakes and get bit by snakes, and occasionally.
Well, must be God's will.
I think that's how you best celebrate God.
Well, how do you celebrate God?
Yeah, but anyway, I forget why we originally got on this stuff.
Yeah, I do too. But so we'll bring it back to the closing thing. Is hey, mental health is your responsibility, and even if you're in the moments of some times when you're not able to think straight. You're not acting correctly. You're not always in those times, unless, you are, but that's very rare. And so when you're not in those moments, that's when you have that responsibility, is that your mental health isn't just like, if you have these things, it's not like, oh, I had a thing and that's never going to happen again. Right?
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, I'm better now. No, they don't work like that.
That's the other thing too. If you know good sources of good help, especially if you find good sources that are free for if people are having problems with, that's one of their main concerns is being able to pay for this sort of help.
Look online.
Then
there's lots of...
Yeah, please share those with everyone.
Yeah.
So that nobody can say, I don't know.
Yeah, and there's a ton of, we live in a larger city, but I know that here that there are a ton of free resources, and that
but even then it's
that's
overwhelming,
not right, and even if that's not like you're permanent, you can at least find out if it's something worth pursuing, right? So maybe you get a free guy and you realize, hey, okay, it's worth me investing a little money because I'm getting some benefit out of this,
that's the other thing too I mentioned before, I'm mentioning again, don't just think that you have to be stuck with one person. If you don't like them, if you don't feel comfortable with them, then find somebody else, and they should be the first one to tell you that. They should be like, okay, yeah, we'll talk, and like if you're uncomfortable, then we can try somebody else, or send you to somebody else and see if you like them better or whatever. You have to feel comfortable.
Yep.
So yeah, don't think that it's one and done. If you go to one session and you don't like the person, don't think like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah, and it's the same thing like we talked about with meds.
In what?
medication.
Oh yeah.
That there's a lot of different medications.
Yeah,
just because the first one
times,
doesn't work for you, don't think that means that there's no medicine.
Yeah, not all medications work the same for all people. You have to sometimes you have to try different medications if you need medication, or different even types, several different types of medications at different levels depending on what's going on. Sometimes you won't need medications at all. It just depends.
Yep. But yeah, don't think that, well, I tried and it didn't work, and not just like I knew it wouldn't, because that's a very easy sort of self-fulfilled prophecy sort of, scenario.
Yeah. And that's another thing too about being scared. For a long time, there's a stigma about having to take meds. Mm-hmm. And I had that. I was afraid that if I had to take medication, that it meant that, something was wrong with me, and that I wasn't good enough, and all that kind of stuff. So and
I feel that same thing.
And it just made me shitty. Like having to take a pill made me feel shitty about myself. And but yeah, just don't. It's not that big of a deal. It's made out to be. So much of the stuff that we think is so bad for us and that makes us feel bad is stuff that isn't really. It's not bad. There's nothing to it. It's just stuff we've been brought up to have a stigma against or something.
Yeah. And the thing is too, is it goes back to us, right? It's that those things only have power because we give them power, because we feel those things.
Yeah.
We feel shitty about ourselves, and that's why we're in danger.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's another thing, like if you had to take a pill to be able to breathe, everything else was fine, but you had to take a pill to be able to breathe, would you not take that pill?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you felt like you were suffocating and you could fix it by, you could help make that easier by taking this pill, would you not take that pill? Would you feel bad about having to take the pill that you needed to breathe? Like,
well, like now I think about just even like a headache, right?
Yeah.
It's like I get a headache and I don't think, oh my God, I'm an inferior human because I get headaches. I get pains in my head. My brain hurts and I don't freak out.
Yeah.
But man, you get a little bit of anxiety, and then all of a sudden you feel like you're an inferior human, and you're broken, and to take something.
And if your problem is just anxiety, and I say just anxiety, but again that's a sliding scale.
Yes.
I found, because I am on sertraline, which is generic Zoloft, and that's what you got on as well after I got on it. It's helped you a lot. It's helped us both. It's worked really well for us. But also Xanax is something that I was given to try. Mm-hmm. And they like to control that one more. Had a couple times where I went to a different doctor and I asked for a refill on the prescription, and he didn't want to give it to me because it's a controlled substance. And until I let him know that, I've had this before, and it's not something that
you weren't looking to take it daily, right?
I was taking it as needed, and I would only take like half a pill to start with.
Yeah.
And, and it was just having it available, knowing that you had that there to help if necessary.
Yep.
That comfort level, that was enough to help minimize a lot of the anxiety.
Yeah.
So knowing that you had that tool within your grasp that you could apply if you deemed that you needed it, relaxed the anxiety enough that I didn't need it.
Yep, I experienced that.
Yeah. So.
Yep, I agreed. All right. Well, I think we've hit that one pretty hard today, but I think we needed to. So.
Yeah.
We probably got about half hour left, Randy. Does that look?
It is 1:37.
1:37. Okay. All righty. Well, I'm happy with the progress I made on the Cthulhu today. So that's exciting. Here, putting some whites on this. I'm frosting his tips because if there is a Cthulhu, I'm sure that's what he would want. Is his tips frosted?
His tits?
Well,
got frosted tits.
Man, frosted tits. That sounds like
cut glass with those.
Sounds like one of the best breakfast cereals ever.
Look like Tic Tacs.
They do look like Tic Tacs. They're gonna get toned down here. I just realized I wanted to give them kind of some bony white here on the tips.
You say I needed to tone it down? Jeez.
No, I would never ask the impossible, Randy. Do you have anything that's any game that's on your target right now something you're looking
don't know.
forward to?
I purchased a couple a couple new things. I don't exactly remember what they were at the moment.
Yeah, like you got that Shadow of the Mordor. Yeah, because they had a good,
Yeah.
they had a real great sale on
there's
some
like
stuff.
up to 70% off on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I
saw
got
that
a few
and it was
things that
like-
were 50% off.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff I got was just free add-ons and stuff like that.
Have you picked up any of the Lego games yet?
I did. I think I got the
Harry Potter one?
I got one of the Star Wars Gold
Okay.
versions.
Yep.
I'm not sure what all is included in that.
I
think
think
it's
a lot.
like The Force Awakens with some extra content or something. I'm not sure.
I think that one that you're talking... Oh, did you get the Force Awakens Gold?
I think that's what it was.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And I don't know. I've gotten a few different things over the past few days.
Yeah.
But I haven't had a chance to play any of them. And I've got a ton of other stuff that I've already gotten that I haven't even looked at yet. So, most of the time I'm playing. I've just been playing the Dragon Age Inquisition lately, and then when I got the chance to play it with my older brother, trying to show him some of the VR stuff.
Yeah.
And got to look in on the Doctor Who VR. There are a few VR games that I have on my radar that I'm waiting to go on sale.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
That's the thing is like right now, and I think especially because people are probably just starting to get some of their quests. It's like they don't want to put anything on sale right now. It's like So yeah, I got a bunch of stuff that's I'm patiently waiting on. There's a game that maybe you can pull up, Randy. It's on Rift, so it really wasn't on my radar. But it's called Asher. It's called Asgard's Wrath, I believe. Asgard, like Thor Asgard.
I think this is maybe one that I was looking for, but at first I didn't because I think I saw it on. Let's see, maybe it's not the right. Oh, maybe this isn't the same thing. But there were a few that I was looking at because of Neebs Gaming. I saw him playing it on Neebs Gaming.
Oh, okay.
And but it turns out that I wasn't paying attention to what system they were using, and it looks like it may just be an Oculus game.
Exclusive. Okay.
Which I have the PS4, so the PS4 VR. You have the Oculus.
Yes.
Which one is it again? What's it called?
This is called Asgard.
No, the
Oh, the Quest. I have
the Quest. You have the Quest.
Yeah.
Okay.
But with the link, I can also play Rift games.
Yeah. So Wrath. Oh, it's right here. So Asgard's Wrath on Oculus Rift.
Yeah, how do they describe that?
For free with Rift S purchase until Asgard Wrath Oculus. This should be sufficient. Battle as mortals, rise as God. Asgard's Wrath. Trailer looks cool. I mean, I'm sure that this is an actual.
It looked like
that looks cool.
Yeah, to me, it looked like it was like an RPG type game, and it looked like it had really nice graphics, and it looked like it was pretty deep. There's a person who does some really nice reviews on some of those, and he had like a scale, like of here's my 10-point scale, and here's like 10 factors I judge on these, and it's like really good. It was like, and it made me think like, oh, okay, this is something that may be worth.
Yeah, I saw a couple YouTube videos that I was going to send you, but I was on the wrong platform. It wasn't a share friendly platform.
Gotcha.
One of them was an in-depth review of various VR systems.
Oh, okay.
Like multiples of the same brand, even.
Yeah.
And it broke it down into like, self-contained with like that use a phone, or self-contained that were wireless that didn't use a phone, and then ones that you had to have a PC for. So each of those were broken down in those subcategories, and then by brand, and had a lot of good information there. So I'll have to find that again and send it to you. I wish they made it easier. Like when you looked up a game and they're showing you pictures and videos and stuff, if it were easier to tell whether that's actual gameplay, or whether that's artistic representation or cutscenes.
Well, what I found,
like right off the bat,
because the resolution of your device varies, what they'll say is it will say in-game engine. So it's like that's what the engine can generate. Now, what your your device will make it look like can be different. So you'll see it be high res, but I mean, I know what the Quest is going to do, right? I mean, it's going to be whatever resolution it's going to be. But the fidelity is there, and that's important, you know what I mean, in the 3D environment. So the fidelity is there, and as you move around it, it'll have more fidelity than it'll have by just straight looking at it, if that makes sense.
I believe so. It's kind of like in a way of the screen door. Like you may not notice the screen door effect if you're looking around, but if you stare at something directly and stay still, then you may.
Yeah, like if you're just looking at a gem, it may only show you like 6 sides. But if you moved your head left and right, you could actually see that there's 10 from your current view. You just, some of them are getting blocked by the screen and the screen door. Exactly. That's exactly what I was trying to say.
This says, I was going to tell you, one of the things that video said was that it does not recommend using the ones that have camera systems on them for tracking, such as yours. Does not recommend using those in daylight, like outside in sunlight, because it can damage the cameras and or the screen.
It did have something about saying no sunlight, and I thought that it was saying I thought it was trying to tell me don't let the sun come in from the glass's view, because it was just a magnifying glass, right? And it was going to bake whatever it had, but maybe that's what it was saying was, don't do this outside.
But do it outside at night, no problem.
Well,
as long as you're in a safe space.
Well, and again, it has to be lit to some degree.
Yeah, well.
Because those things don't work in total darkness.
Yeah, as long as there's enough light for it to function.
Right.
What else? Oh, okay. We're talking about Asgard's Wrath here. Unleash the Wrath of the Gods in a mythical Norse adventure that can only unfold in VR. Forge your destiny as both a mortal hero and a living god in an action role-playing game of unworldly depth. Visceral combat. Wield the diverse powers of several deadly heroes with a revolutionary combat system only possible in VR.
Only.
Immersive exploration.
There's no other way you could do that.
Explore and interact with a rich Norse fantasy world. Recruit loyal animal companions to fight by your side. I mean, you've already got me by immersive exploration of interacting with a rich Norse fantasy world. I'm in.
Yeah. And it did seem, I mean, from what they were saying is like, this is a beefy experience. So.
Nice.
So yeah, that's one. It was like, I've got it on my radar, but I think I'm going to wait for it to.
I mean, yeah, this character definitely looks kind of beefy.
Beefy. You had me at beef.
1, 2, 3.
You had me at beef, O'Brady.
Rocking an 8-pack is like Thor in golden armor with the fur. Yeah, that's nice. Let's see. Rise as a god. Step into the shoes of a towering Norse deity and square off against godly rivals. Experience jumping between human and immortal scales on your journey to become a legend.
I need to probably clarify something. Asgard?
Yeah.
Not Asgard.
Oh, I'm out.
Yeah.
Wait.
So they're saying you should guard your ass, or
yeah, right. Wait, do they mean? There's which one is that? Is it Conan Exiles? There's new Asagarth. Is one of the, but it's Asagarth. Yeah.
Them elves and their darn asses.
Let's see, Lord of Asgard, dwell among the captivating gods and goddesses of an awe-inspiring mythical world.
It's funny,
that is a cool treant sort of character they got there.
Oh, do they?
Oh yeah. Here, let me see if I can.
I'm painting the inside of this again, and look how much blue it shows this time.
Hold on.
Because it's like the first time you do it, it almost acts as like a primer because nothing wants to stick, and then once you put some stuff on it, then you can. Oh yeah, that is cool. Yeah, because we know that it doesn't look like that in the game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a little bit more of. But yeah, so I don't know. We might have to.
I mean, it could just put some screen door with that, like.
Yeah, but I mean, I doubt that it's generated at that fidelity, even in an in-game engine. But who am I? I could be wrong. But yeah, if you can see here, Randy, look how much blue that we got on the inside.
We need to make sure that you're getting some games that we can
multiplayer.
Yep.
Yeah, agreed.
Cross-platform.
Yeah. And I did get the native. Well, you did it with the natively the Star Trek, and I'm going through the training still.
Cool.
I redid the training. I'm about 3/4 of the way through the training. I'm very slowly getting accustomed to the VR. I'm prone to it making me a little nauseous, so I'm just slowly.
Yeah, that's not so much in that game, because you're sitting.
Yeah, it is better in that one. Yeah, because you're.
It's
sitting.
mainly when you're moving around.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a fast.
Yep.
I
didn't realize that. Like that's why they have you teleport.
Yeah, that's what they're minimizing.
Is they're trying to minimize motion.
So it's like imagine when you're in a car and you're sitting still, but the terrain is zooming past you. That's what it's causing.
When you're sitting,
motion sickness.
When you're sitting in the car and the car next to you is moving and you think it's your car going backwards, but yet you don't feel it going backwards, and your body's like, whoa. It's that. Yeah.
So yeah, that happens with fast fluid movement over distance, where you're moving from one spot to another quickly at a distance in the game is where that is most prevalent, I believe. So they get over that a lot by teleporting from one spot or click to move.
I noticed when we were doing that one that you were doing, it wasn't Moss. It was that one, the one in the woods.
Oh,
where you were like you had the sword and the shield.
Oh, the one on yours? Yeah.
And on that one, like I noticed it like when I was strafing, right? Like if I'm moving left to right, if I'm moving forward and back, it wasn't as bad. But if like I'm moving like at a direction that's different than me looking forward, that's when I noticed it most. And I think it's because your body wants you to like feel it, like that movement, but you're getting nothing. And I think that's what kind of causes it to feel a little unsettling. But
yeah, your brain is thinking. Your brain wants to be like, okay, we're moving, but your body's not.
Yeah, but
like, so you get that when you stop. It's like, like sort of stomach. Like if you go over a hill and it feels like your stomach goes up in your throat or whatever.
Yeah,
kind of like that.
Yep.
Or a roller coaster.
Yeah, that's been
moment.
my experience. Yep. That's been my experience with it.
Let's see. I think that's probably part of the reason, at least, why in the Doctor Who, you've got two, like each controller, you got both controllers. So like the left hand does it one way and the right hand does it another. The right hand control, you can do the click to move, sort of teleport, click to move sort of situation. I don't think it's teleport. I think it's click to move. So you click on a spot in front of you and your character walks toward it.
Oh, okay.
I think. I can't remember exactly.
In the Doctor Who, you think that might be the way it works?
What?
In the Doctor Who game you're talking about?
Yes. For PlayStation anyway. But the left controller, you can, I think you hold it down, you hold a button down and move the controller in the direction you want to go, and you slowly walk, you slowly move as you're, as you're moving the controller kind of situation.
Gotcha.
But it's very slow. And I think, so I was going to say, I think probably it's so slow to help avoid that motion sickness sort of feeling.
Right.
Otherwise, I don't know what the hell it's so slow for. Because to me, it was like, okay, there's times where you want to be running from in between places and you have to just sit there and slowly walk. And it was kind of annoying. But...
Yeah, because I originally had thought that the teleport was just a technical limitation. And then it was like, oh, no, they're doing something else here. And I get it now. And it's like, okay, that makes sense. And
some games specifically spell that out at the very beginning. It's one of the settings that you can choose if you're new to VR or if you're very experienced with VR. If you're new, if you have problems with being car sick, then or whatever, motion sickness, then they'll use different. And some of them you can even adjust, like they'll have like degrees to it, and I don't know exactly what that means.
Yeah,
because I haven't messed with that at all.
Right.
But it's something to do with the degree of movement and
I noticed that all these games have settings about how sensitive are you to the motion sensitive, and do you want a casual experience or do you want an immersive experience?
Yeah,
I am noticing.
And these things are becoming better because, they do. The newer games do have these. They're just trying to become better at minimizing those problems with newer games, but just in general. But like I was playing one of the older games, it was clearly an older game because it didn't have those options, and some of the movement was very limited. And even on the setting that was supposed to be kind of sensitive for that kind of stuff, if it had that, I can't remember. I thought it did. It was still pretty bad at causing a bit of motion sickness.
Yeah.
So there have been great advancements in that department for newer games that have come out.
Yeah. Gotcha. Let's see here. Computer, what time is it? Kind of close.
It's 7 till 2. Computer, what's up?
Here's what's up.
Okay, computer. Never mind. Like read the daily news or something.
Yeah.
Shut up.
So we don't want to. We trying to hear that, computer.
Computer. Earl Grey, hot.
Yes.
Unable to comply. Replicators are offline.
Nice.
Points.
Yes.
Nerd points. That's nice. Well done, computer. Well done.
Goddamn replicators offline. Where's the fucking engineer?
We're gonna have to. Man, are we gonna have to get into Jeffrey Tubes again? And I don't know who designed starships, but goddamn, could they make those Jeffrey Tubes look any more uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Let's have you walk on hands and knees on metal grates. Yeah, thanks, Starfleet.
Why don't they just always turn off the artificial gravity within Jeffrey's tube?
Oh, now see, that's the kind of thinking that Starfleet needs. Just that kind of thinking.
I like when they make references to that within the series.
Like
there's an episode.
Like, goddamn, this sucks. That these are.
Yeah. Like these are so poorly designed or whatever. Like why the hell you have to go damn Jeffrey tube? Like, within either Next Generation or Voyager, I think they reference that.
That's funny. All right, well, Randy, we're bringing today's show to a wrap here. As I'm taking a look at where we're at with our Cthulhu, we did a bunch of dry brushing, and I was really happy with it. And now I'm undoing all the stuff that I liked, and I'm got to be really careful to not overwork this. But I wanted to add more green into it. I really like where he's at, but I want to add some more green in, and then dry brush him again, and I think he'll be done. But I did put some more color on the underside here. You can see that's a much deeper blue. So that should help us here with our water effect base. And actually, let me switch to the M50 here. We can see what we go, Randy. Take a look at that guy.
Cool, dude. It looks like his eyes are actually glowing.
Yeah, it is. I hadn't done anything, and they were red, and so I wanted to put the first part of the eyeballs in there. But yeah, they do look like they glow now. I did the same thing with the tips, his fingernails and the tips on the wings, and they'll get muted down, but I just needed to separate them from what they were.
There was one view in particular when you first put it up there, it was like, holy shit, it like seriously.
Yeah, like right there.
Yeah, right there.
What?
It looks like there's a light coming out, like you've got an LED in there or something.
I don't even have Cthulhu on the screen, Randy. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Randy, Dark Lord commands you, Randy.
My brain is melting.
Dark commands you. This thing is looking tight. I gotta say, I'm really pleased with.
Yeah, you got a lot going on there. That's awesome.
All right, so really happy with him, and man, I am super excited again with our other dragon here. He's going to be fun to paint up here. I like the way that these.
So how did you deal with that? With because you've got the green and just the wing material, and then. Did you what kind of masking did you use?
No, I didn't mask. I just did airbrushed it.
You're so mask.
Yeah. I tell you, my brother's original fiance told me that I looked like the kid from Mask. That happened.
Nice.
That's a true story. You kind of, I mean, I don't mean that in a bad, well, how could you mean
this
that?
Mean the actor that plays the character?
No, she didn't mean I looked like, no, she didn't tell me that I looked like Eric, whoever.
Stoltz.
Eric Stoltz. No, nobody's ever told me that I look like Eric Stoltz, but I did get told that I look like Eric Stoltz when he plays the character in Mask. Yay. But no, I didn't. The point was fine enough that I really wasn't that concerned about overspray, right? So and since I'm just doing basic layers, and where you overspray, that'll get kind of taken care of with the dry brushing and the washes. They'll make up for those. So I'm trying to actually be a little less precious in this stage, knowing that
was a sweet fig.
Yeah, I was
The
really.
tops of those wings are. I'm digging the tops of the wings the way they're looking right now. Actually, with the way the lights.
Yeah,
It's a cool look.
Yeah, thanks. I'm really pleased with how this is starting. I think, and then the thing is too, with like some of these collars where you can't see them now, but when you start to put a collar against it, then the collars will start to pop. Some of these darker collars will start to pop, and then
I love. That's one of the things I used to love about Bob Ross when he would do a black gesso painting and he'd put like phthalo blue on the black canvas and then do the titanium white over it and it would pop like so cool.
Yeah, you're right about that. And then the opalescent paints. So, I use some of that on here, and they're a lot of fun. So getting the opalescence on the scales in particular is going to be really nice, I think. So, yeah, I'm really excited to see how this guy's going to churn out. He's going to be a lot of fun. When I went in there, they had three more of the beholders. So I picked up those. I picked up three of the beholders.
Nice.
And then I started looking to see what other stuff that they had, and I was like, I've been wanting one of these Cthulhu's for a while, so I was like, I feel comfortable enough that I can do a good job on that. And then I was like, I want to do a dragon now too, because the scales on those on the beholders, it was fun to do those with opalescence. So I was like, well, let's try it. And so this is a small dragon. I don't even remember what they call him. This is like a young dragon or something. So it's not super large, but at some point
he's a wee baby.
Yeah, he's pretty much just a drake.
It's practically a whelp.
Yes.
Not quite.
So we have that, and then we have our dragon egg,
it's a big ass whelp,
which will be whelp. Yeah, that's why he's a whelp, because if you come across him, you're like whelp.
Yeah.
It was nice knowing you. All right, so I think that's a wrap for today. We're remind everybody about the links in the below area, and check us out on the Instagram, check us out on the Quasi Shop, check out the recommended gear, hit the like, hit the share. That's the button that lets you share it with all the people that are near and dear to you. Then you also got the I don't even think we mentioned today, Randy, the subscribe button, the super important subscribe button. It's one of the most important buttons that there is, because when you click that one, it gives you access to the bell icon, and when you click that, good things happen. See, you just heard that, like church bells on a Sunday morning. So please be sure that you click all that stuff. And Randy, is there anything else that you want to part to the good people? I think that we'll be picking up kind of pretty much where we left off today on Thursday's show. Anything that you
love yourselves, love one another, love your psychologist.
And if you love your family, I'll say this: if you love your family, do them a favor, and if you have mental issues, seek professional help. And that's all kinds of, if it's everybody. If you ever thought that maybe, possibly, the answer is yes. Go talk to somebody. And not because you're a weak person, but because you're a strong person. And because this will help you. It'll help your family. It's beneficial for everybody. I don't think I have come across any story where it was just like, oh man, I was really, really depressed and I was really sad and then it all went to hell. What happened? Oh, I saw a therapist. That's not the way that story works. So do yourself a favor, do everybody else a favor, be strong, and stop trying to kid yourself that it's a strength to silently bear your mental health issues, because that's not strength. That's weakness. It's weakness trying to masquerade as strength. So do yourself a real strength and a real kindness to yourself and to your loved ones.
It's an excuse.
Yep. And if need be, seek some professional help. But with that those words come out of love and of caring, and also remember that when people pull you off on the road, you probably just got to poop real bad.
Real bad.
So with that, I think we'll give you the doctor's promise of never cowardly, never cruel, never give up, never give in. And with that, we will bid you good day.
Thanks, guys.
I said good day, sir.
Love y'all.
Love
Bye.
you. Goodbye.
Bow, chicka, bow.
Bow, chicka, bow, bow.